So just about every year, Roku, Amazon, and a few other companies come out with new streaming devices. There's streaming sticks, streaming boxes. So which one do you buy? And which one do you get if you're gonna cut the cord from cable TV or replace your satellite and start streaming or using a TV antenna? In this video, I'm gonna dive into what I think are the best streaming devices on the market right now. Hey, I'm Jim Kimball, editor of CordCuttingReport.com, and welcome to the channel. This is kind of a reintroduction in a way, because even though I've had the YouTube channel for a few years now, this is the first time I'm on camera. I'm gonna be doing things a little bit differently going forward, so I hope you really like it. By the way, before I dive into my picks, I really want to hear from you. What's your favorite streaming device right now? What do you like about streaming devices? What don't you like? I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. I'll be sure to read all your comments below, and I'll even jump in there and respond to a few of them. Okay, so streaming devices. What do I like that's on the market right now? My favorite streaming device this year is Google Chromecast with Google TV. The thing I like best about Chromecast is instead of scrolling through app after app looking for something to watch, Google TV has a recommendation engine, both subscription streaming services and free streaming services. So you don't have to spend a lot of time going from one streaming service to another just to figure out what to watch. Your homepage aggregates movies, TV shows from 30 different streaming apps. Google's approach to aggregating from different streaming services isn't new news, but a software update that rolled out in June added a fully integrated channel guide for Sling TV. Now, when you go over to the Live tab, you can find your Sling TV subscription and quickly find something to watch. Prior to this update, the Live TV guide only worked for YouTube TV subscribers. So the fact that Chromecast expanded it to Sling TV as well is a pretty nice feature, especially since Sling TV is more of a budget option. So right now, Google TV is basing its recommendations off 30 different streaming apps, but I wouldn't be surprised if that list grows in the months ahead. Streaming services are constantly rotating in new movies and TV shows, while others leave the service. I think even if you're someone who faithfully reads those lists on what's coming to Netflix or Hulu, it's pretty hard to keep up. Google TV kind of takes away the pain point of servicing what's kind of in the deeper catalog, whether you subscribe to HBO Max or Hulu. And in the months that I've been using it since I bought my Chromecast, I've noticed that I've run across some movies and TV shows that I probably wouldn't know about otherwise. Another thing that I really like, especially for the movie section, you get this sort of premium landing page where you can see a trailer for the movie, often a Rotten Tomatoes score, different ways you can watch either through subscription or rental, and you can decide pretty quickly whether you want to spend the next couple of hours watching something. I regularly use a TV antenna as part of my cord cutting setup, and I test a number of over-the-air DVRs here, including HD Home Run, Tablo. If you use that kind of hardware in your house, you can easily tap into that with the Android TV app. Here's my local ABC station, and as you can see, I can get all of my over-the-air channels pretty easy with the Chromecast. The remote control is well designed. It's small, it fits into your hand pretty well. Once you set up the Chromecast, it can power the TV on and off, and it can control the volume with this volume rocker on the side. There's buttons for Google Assistant, so you can quickly ask, when is the next Red Sox game? And there's your schedule. And you have more practical uses, such as just tracking down a favorite movie. Paul Newman movies. So obviously there's a lot you can do with Google Assistant. I think the strength of the Google Chromecast is it can really save you a lot of time, so you can quickly find something to watch, and it helps you get what I think is a little bit better experience with all these streaming services. Whether you're paying for a few of them or you're relying on free ones, Google Chromecast is doing a good job so far aggregating different choices, including ones you might not see otherwise. The Chromecast is pretty competitively priced. Right now it sits at about $50, and that's pretty good for a 4K streaming device. By the way, it supports HDR10, Dolby Vision, and Dolby Atmos, so if you have a high-end television, it supports all of those formats. Roku has been my go-to recommendation for people who have lived with cable for years and aren't really crazy about big changes. The Roku Ultra is what I bought my parents and some family and friends when they've asked for help to cut the cord. But now I think the Roku Express 4K Plus is an overall better value because you're getting most of the features you care about for less than half the price. So Roku really excels at being intuitive and very simple to use. They have a grid of apps that you can organize in any order that you like. Roku has its own slate of free ad-supported movies and TV shows on the Roku channel. You can find everything from family movies, live music, action, comedies, suspense. I'm a big fan of the old Alfred Hitchcock myself. And the featured free section does a really good job of aggregating other free movies and TV shows from a wide variety of apps. So if you're a big fan of Homestead Rescue, you can watch it off the Discovery Go app without having to sign in through your pay TV provider or streaming service. You can simply press the button, click through on the free tab, and select whatever episode you want to watch. Featured free really cuts down on the time it takes for you to figure out whether there's a show or a movie that you want to watch that you don't have to pay for. You don't need to dive into a bunch of different apps. You don't need to worry about signing in. It's one of these features that just makes Roku really easy to use. The remote control on the Express 4K Plus has a power button for the TV. On the side of the remote, there's a remote control rocker, so you control the volume on your television. There's even a mute button, and there's a button for voice search. Voice search is really handy because you can quickly track down a number of movies from a favorite actor or favorite director. Here, let's do a quick search. Paul Newman movies. And here we are. The top queue of movies shows films that are available to rent. Down below, in the second queue, you can see a number of Paul Newman movies that are available for free. Chances are these are on ad-supported free streaming services, so you will see some commercials, but you are getting the movie for free. So the private listening feature is not included in the remote control of the Roku Express 4K Plus, but there is an easy way that you can still use it. All you need to do is pull up the Roku mobile app on your phone. This is just a mobile version of the remote control for pretty much any Roku device. You'll notice a button for private listening. You can use Bluetooth headphones, that's what I use on this phone, or if your phone has a headphone jack on the side, you can plug that in and start using private listening on the Express 4K Plus and other Roku models. Private listening is really convenient if you're watching a movie at night and you don't want to disturb someone else who's sleeping in another room or right next to you. I've also noticed when using my Bluetooth headphones, I'm picking up a lot of smaller sounds that I wouldn't have noticed in my sound bar. That adds a lot of nice detail to a movie. If you are buying a brand new 4K TV or an OLED TV, then you're probably going to want to spend the extra money on a Roku Ultra. The Roku Ultra supports HDR10, Dolby Vision. On the audio side, it supports Dolby Atmos. And the Ultra also has a couple of other features that might make it a more attractive buy for you. One of my new favorites is the remote control finder. Let me show you how that works. There's a button on the side of the Ultra This button used to be on top with previous versions. All you need to do is press this button when you lose your remote control and your remote control become a beacon. It'll start beeping until you track it down. And then once you have the remote in hand, you can press any button you want to turn the beeping off. It's super handy, especially when you have a number of people in your household, everybody's watching TV, and you know, the remote's always falling in between the couch cushions or under the couch and a number of other places. With the Roku Ultra's remote control, just like the Express 4K Plus, it does have the power button and volume rocker that I mentioned earlier. There's a private listening jack on the other side of the remote, so you can plug in a pair of headphones, and there's 2 programmable buttons that you can use to launch a favorite streaming service. So if you subscribe to something a little more obscure, I'm a big fan of the Criterion Collection, you can make that your number 1 button or number 2 button. To me, one of the main perks of the Roku Ultra has been the Ethernet port on the back. Being able to hardwire your Roku instead of relying on Wi-Fi can really make a big difference, especially if you subscribe to YouTube TV or Sling TV or another live TV streaming service and you want to do everything you can to prevent the possibility of your live TV connection of freezing or picture lag, especially if you're sharing Wi-Fi with a number of other devices around your house. If you're a big sports fan, the last thing you want to happen is having your picture jam up while you're in the middle of watching a big play during a football game. Both the Roku Ultra and the Roku Express 4K Plus support Apple AirPlay and HomeKit, so if you want to stream photos or video from your iPad or iPhone or a Mac, you can easily stream all of that to your television. The Express 4K Plus, which is what I have hooked up to the monitor, that retails for about $40. I picked mine up on sale for about $30. The Roku Ultra retails for about $99.99. Again, I bought mine for about $70 when it was on sale. Roku has sales at least 2 or 3 times a year, so if you wait around, you can get these devices at a slightly lower price. When it comes to Fire TV devices, the 2 that I like the best are the Fire TV Cube and the Fire TV 4K stick. I think for most people, the Fire TV 4K stick is going to be the better value. But let's quickly break down some of the differences between the 2. The Fire TV Cube, which I have hooked up to the monitor here, that has hands-free voice control, so you can walk into the room and turn it on or turn it off with just your voice. And if you own a TV antenna and a Fire TV Recast, you can also go directly to a channel that you're picking up through the Recast. Let's try it real quick. Alexa, tune to CBS. And there's your picture. The latest software update for Fire TV devices came out in early 2021, and it really moved toward integrating choices from different apps, especially depending on what you chose as your top 6 favorite apps. So on mine right now, I have Philo, which I subscribe to. You can see that underneath I have some recommendations of live channels, Pluto, which is a free service. It breaks down some of the movies that are playing on their genre channels. And the same thing goes for Hulu, Prime Video. You have a bit of a deeper catalog there. And Tubi, which has recommendations and some other channels. In a way, Amazon's been kind of working on this for a while, and they have had some aggregation with their channel TV guide. Let's jump over to that for a minute and take a look. You can find your channel guide with what I call the hamburger shape button. I don't know if that's the right name for it. You can either hit that or just say, Alexa, go to channel guide. And here we have a pretty robust channel guide where you can add over-the-air channels and channels from streaming services such as Philo, Sling TV, IMBD TV, owned by Amazon. They have some live channels. You can add some, but not all Pluto TV channels. And so I think Fire TV devices in general can be a great solution if you're looking to combine over-the-air TV with some of your streaming services. The second generation Fire TV Cube supports Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, and HDR10. There's an adapter that you can connect to the back of the Cube if you want to connect via Ethernet instead of Wi-Fi. This is actually a first generation Fire TV Cube that I bought when it came out. If you buy a second generation, you're going to have a slightly better remote control that can control TV power and volume. One of the things I use the Cube a lot for when I have it hooked up is just turning on and off the TV when I'm walking in and out of the room. Sometimes the remote might not be handy or I'm busy doing something else. It's always surprised me how convenient voice control can be with even just really basic things such as powering on the TV or launching it to a certain channel when you want to see a show or a sporting event. There are some casual gaming options that Amazon has through the Amazon App Store and their new cloud gaming service, Luna. I'm not going to dive into those in this video, but I did want to mention them in passing because it does make the Fire TV a little bit different than Roku. The Fire TV Stick 4K has pretty much all the same perks as a second generation Fire TV Cube, and if you want hands-free voice control and you have an Echo or an Echo Dot, you can easily connect the two under the Alexa app. The Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K supports Dolby Vision, HDR10. I think the only reason for getting the Fire TV Cube over the Fire Stick 4K is if you want an Ethernet connection, or you really like the idea of having sort of an Echo device with your TV. The Cube can also control sound bars and some audio equipment. Personally, I've never used it for that. If you have sort of a home theater setup, maybe a stereo receiver that's connected to your TV, then the Fire TV Cube could be a better buy for you. The latest Fire TV Cube came out in 2019. It retails now for about $119, and I think that's about the same as what I paid for the first gen when it came out. I can't remember off the top of my head. The Fire TV 4K stick usually retails for about $50. I bought it on sale, I think, for around $40. And as you probably know, Amazon does put Fire TV devices on sale at least once or twice a year. If you want to know more about the Fire TV recast, I have made a couple of different videos, one on the Fire TV recast specifically, and then another that focuses on what I think are the best OTA DVRs, so you can check those out for more information. I saved my most expensive pick for last because not everybody wants a 4K streaming device with some serious gaming chops. I'm talking about the NVIDIA Shield TV. The NVIDIA Shield TV is basically the digital workhorse of the streaming landscape. It offers 4K streaming and supports HDR10, Dolby Vision, and on the audio side, Dolby Atmos. But if you're a PC gamer and you want to stream games from your PC to the Shield, or you can use NVIDIA's own cloud gaming service, GeForce Now. The latest NVIDIA Shield models came out in 2019, but the high-end chipset makes it one of the fastest streaming devices on the market. It's the only streaming device that comes with a backlit remote when you pick it up. AI upscaling is probably the most underrated feature on the Shield TV. It works with both subscription-based services and free services like Pluto TV. So if you have a movie that you're streaming just in HD, you can hit the hamburger shape button. You'll get enhanced details on your 4K screen. So what's the big deal about AI upscaling? Well, for a movie fan like me, I like to watch a lot of older movies, so I'm a big fan of the Criterion channel. Pretty much all the movies on this service are in HD, including older ones that have never been remastered. So if I'm watching a movie on Criterion, that's in HD, and I'd like to see how it looks with a little more picture detail, all I have to do is press a button and see how it looks. The Shield runs on its own version of Android TV software with full access to the Google Play Store. If the menu looks familiar, or maybe close to the Google Chromecast that I talked about earlier in the video, that's because the Shield TV just got a software update that incorporates Google TV and some of the Discover features that you have on Google Chromecast. It's not exactly the same, but the Discover tab is very similar. On the Shield, the Discover tab breaks things down by top picks in different genres such as action, thrillers, subjects you might have been interested in from other things that you've seen, and it's also aggregating from your subscriptions and free streaming services that you've used. Aside from streaming Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, some of the more well-known streaming services, the Shield TV also has apps for HD Home Run and Tablo, which are two over-the-air DVRs that work with TV antennas. So you can get live over-the-air channels through Shield TV, and you can watch anything that you record through your over-the-air DVR. The Shield comes in two models. Hooked up to the monitor right now is the entry-level model, which costs $149. There's also the Shield Pro, which is probably more appropriate if you're running any kind of gaming emulators, or you're gaming from a PC, or if you're setting up a Plex media server. I'm a big fan of Plex. I'm going to save that topic for another video. One last thing to note with the latest NVIDIA Shield models. Unlike in years past, they did not come with a gamepad, but you can purchase that separately, and there are a number of compatible Bluetooth gamepads that work with the Shield, including PlayStation and some more generic models. The entry-level Shield costs $149. The newer Shield Pro, I have an older model here, they cost $200. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room. There's one well-known streaming device that I didn't include on this list, and that's Apple TV. The new Apple TV 4K debuted this year at $179 for the 32 gigabit model and $200 for the 64 gigabit. A lot of people who are trying to cut the cord are trying to save money, and with the number of 4K streaming devices that are sitting around the $40 and $50 price point, it's really hard to recommend the Apple TV as a good alternative to your cable box. Apple does also have a HD version of the Apple TV. That also costs $149, similar to the Shield, but I think the Shield, between its AI upscaling and its gaming options, just brings a lot more to the table than a typical HD streaming device. Hey, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found something useful. Please consider giving a like to the video. It really helps me out. And consider subscribing to the channel if you're interested in more videos like this. In the interest of full disclosure, I paid for just about every streaming device seen in this video. However, NVIDIA did send me a NVIDIA Shield for testing and review purposes. For more about me and my review process, head over to cordcuttingreport.com and click on the About tab. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.